Are the Georgia Bulldogs the team to beat for five-star quarterback Dylan Raiola? That's what I'm talking about today. And if you've been on Dog Post, you kind of already know the answer to this because we have been on top of his recruitment since day one. The Georgia Bulldogs offered him in mid-June 2021. We got a big-time interview with him right after that. And, talking about what he already knows about the Georgia program, why they were the first team to offer. That was a big, big deal to him. Of course, his father, Don Raiola, Nebraska legend, played with the Lions and played with Matthew Stafford. Dylan told us in that first interview, almost 2 years ago now, that he calls Matthew Stafford Uncle Matthew. He's known him his whole life. He knows the Georgia program, has followed them as a kid. And it was a really, really big deal that Georgia was the first to offer and believe in him. And that is one of the several reasons why I think the Georgia Bulldogs are out in front of this race. I reported, again, almost 2 years ago when they first offered that Georgia could be tough to beat here, even with the ties to Nebraska. Eventually the dominoes started to fall. Everyone started to offer, but I reported that Georgia was the leader in the beginning, obviously fell in love with Ohio State, committed to them, I believe a year later, was committed to them for about 6-7 months, decommitted, I believe last December. And then I reported that, hey, he's back on the board. I think Georgia now becomes the team to beat again. And I felt that way in January. A couple of trips to Southern Cal this spring really opened his eyes. Again, Nebraska's always been in the mix as well, but I do think, what they're doing at USC, Lincoln Riley, just what he's been able to do with quarterbacks was eye-opening for Dylan and his family. So I think USC had some momentum, maybe starting in February a little bit and into March. But after his latest visit to Georgia a couple weekends ago, everything I've heard since says, okay, they finally got him back on campus and things are starting to trend back towards Georgia's way for a third time. A little bit of a roller coaster recruitment, very similar to Arch Manning's this time last year. But again, I thought Georgia was the leader in the very beginning of his recruitment, thought they were the team to beat once he decommitted from Ohio State. And after his latest visit last month, in March, last month, I do think Georgia retook the lead for him. And right now, I think his only official visit that's scheduled is to Georgia that first weekend of June. Guys like Nye Carr, who's on the commit list right now, Landon Thomas is going to be in town. It is going to be a loaded official visitor list. And it's going to go a long way, with Dylan being on campus. Once again, I think he's got all of his questions answered. He knows Mike Bobo. I know he loved Todd Monken, but you got to remember, he knows all about Mike Bobo. Mike Bobo is known all about Dylan Raiola. Mike Bobo coached Matthew Stafford. And I know Matthew has been in Dylan's ear and Dom's ear about, hey, look out for Mike Bobo. This guy knows what he's doing. Led one of the best offenses in Georgia history when he was the OC there, back in the late Mark Richt years. The guy knows what he's doing. He helped develop Matthew Stafford. So, Dylan knows all about Mike Bobo. And when Todd Monken left, I was wondering, where Georgia was going to go if they do go with Mike Bobo, which I think everyone kind of assumed, everyone knew that was going to happen. He was the assistant tight ends coach last year. A lot of people don't know that. So he's been on the staff for a while. It was an easy transition. And I knew if Mike Bobo is the one who gets the job, that is going to be big for the Dylan Raiola recruitment. And then, again, they welcomed him with open arms, gave him the red carpet treatment when he was on campus last. And that was his first visit in a while. So, everything I'm hearing is that, the culture in Athens, Kirby Smart, the way he runs his program, Mike Bobo, the way he develops quarterbacks, the winning DNA that they have going on right now, the development, everything that Georgia offers checks the boxes for Dylan Raiola. And again, he's a star. He is as good a prospect as I think we've seen since maybe Trevor Lawrence. He's big, he's about 6'3", about 220, so he's got the size, crazy arm talent. I know a lot of people that I trust who have seen him throw live have told me that he might be the closest thing to Patrick Mahomes that we've seen. He can flick the ball a billion yards down the field, just crazy, insane, elite arm strength, can throw off his back foot and get the ball there, can throw it into tight windows, can throw it deep. I mean, he can do anything with the football that you ask him to, and he can move. Now, if you look up his numbers, there's not going to be, any rushing yards there, but if you watch the film, he can move in the pocket, he can escape, he can dodge defenders, stay in the pocket and move around back there while keeping his eyes downfield. And, a lot of these guys, it's just who can move, right? They look at the first option, it's not there, then they have to scramble and figure out something on their own, right? But, he knows what he's doing. He understands the position. He can, get off his first read, look to the next one. If it's not there, if he's got time, right, he can still move, find his third guy. So everything I've read and, watching the film, watching what he's been able to do the last couple of years, he can make the throws. Now his numbers are not going to blow you away. Last year, he was 178 for 278, 64% passing percentage, threw for 2,435 yards, not eye-opening, 22 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So the productivity could, improve a little bit. His last game, they got shut out. They lost 13-0. He threw for 93 yards. So there are some games where, it doesn't look all that great from a number standpoint. And it's not like he's playing on a bad team. It's not like he doesn't have any weapons. He's got he plays for one of the best programs in Arizona. So he's got it, right? And now he plays at Pinnacle, where Deuce Robinson came from. So he's going from Chandler, originally from Texas. So this is going to be his third high school, I believe. So was at Texas, played at Chandler High School, very well-known program in Arizona. Now he's at Pinnacle High School this upcoming season. So he's got weapons. He's got talent all around him. And obviously he's the number one player in the country, number one quarterback in the country for a good reason, right? Everyone can see why. The arm talent is just at an elite level, and he just screams NFL possible number one overall pick. So, he sees what a guy like Stetson Bennett, who doesn't have his arm talent, was able to do at Georgia and break records and win championships. And Dylan knows that not only it's going to be put in a good spot, but he's going to have an excellent offensive line in front of him. He's going to have weapons all over the place. He's going to have a run game that he can, that'll help him out, right? He doesn't have to throw the ball every single time. He's got a run game that he can rely on. And he's got a great defense on the other side of the ball that's going to make stops and give him a chance to score again and again. So again, everything Georgia offers is what he's looking for. And again, from everything I've heard, Georgia is back in front, and they've either been number one or number two. And again, I was told when he opened it up from Ohio State, got back on the market, that, hey, Georgia's back in this. They're probably the team to beat. And I know USC, Lincoln Riley, opened his eyes a little bit, said that earlier. And it's easy to see why, right? They're closer. He's developed Heisman Trophy winners, but if his goal is to win the Heisman and go to the NFL, USC, I understand. Same with Ohio State. I get it. But if he wants to go and win championships, right, and be the guy and be a possible 3-and-out type of guy, you can see why Georgia is a fit, right? And, if you're the Georgia quarterback, you're like the shortstop of the Yankees, right? You're the shooting guard for the Lakers. It is a big, big deal. Everyone knows who you are. It's one of the biggest positions in college football, right? Everyone talks about it. Who's the starting quarterback at the University of Georgia? And it's a big deal. There are a lot of responsibilities that come with that. And he's a guy who's ready for it. He understands, the pressure that will be on him. But everyone does at Georgia. And, there's a big spotlight on you. And you can either handle it or you can't. Stetson Bennett handled it. And he got better and better. And Dylan saw that. And even without Todd Monken, and he knows what Mike Bobo can do. Again, Matthew Stafford has told him all about Mike Bobo. He said, hey, I got better and better over my career because of Mike Bobo. He can do the same to you. I was a number one pick. You could be a number one pick too under this guy. So again, from everything I'm hearing, Georgia is the only official visit that he has set. And right now, I'm hearing that they are, once again, the team to beat. This is not like this is the first time that everyone has looked at Georgia as the leader in his recruitment. Offering him first was a big, big deal. They have stayed on him. He was in town for a visit last year, so he's seen a game day experience in Athens, one of the best in college football. So he knows what he's getting into if Georgia's the pick, and right now I do think that they're the pick. I think it's just down to Georgia, USC, Nebraska at this point. Might be tough to say Nebraska no just due to the family ties, but they're not on the same level as Georgia, and neither is USC. They lost to Tulane. They lost to Utah. And they have arguably the best quarterback in the country, Heisman Trophy winner back there, and they're still losing to Tulane, right? Not happening at Georgia. He knows that. He sees that. I think Georgia is the team to beat again, and this thing could be over by maybe mid-June, late June, early July, maybe before that. I mean, he might be committed going into that official visit. It wouldn't surprise me if he, made a commitment, a lot earlier than that, maybe later this spring. Definitely something that we have our eye on. But if you want the latest with Dylan Raiola, Dog Post is the place to be. We've had a good relationship with him for, again, almost 2 years now. And I think Georgia is the team out in front once again and in the best position to land him at this time. Guys, thanks for watching this video. As always, stay tuned to the next one coming up right now. I'll see you over on Dog Post.